Fill the Funnel Podcast with Jeff Swan
and Tom Slocum.
We're here to help you crush your targets
with tactical tips and insights you can act on today.
Don't have a fancy tech stack, a big budget, or even a huge team to lean on?
Well, it's time to get that solved today with FTF Fridays.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Fill the Funnel Fridays. You have your co-host here, Tom Slocum, and my very best friend, Jeff Swan. Hope everyone's doing great this week. This topic today is to text or not to text. Following up off a multi-channel last week, this is another lever that you can pull. So we really wanted to dive into some actionable and practical ways to do so. And we're going to kick off the topic here, Jeff, with texting by region. And really, we have all these AEs, SDRs from all over. And, there's a lot of taboo around texting, right? And how it works. So I'd love to dive into it with you and talk a little bit about how it breaks down on a regional level when you start bringing in texting into the sales process.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm really excited to talk about this because I actually worked for a texting company for 2 years and learned a lot about the ins and outs of text messaging in general. And one thing that I was really excited to learn was that so the usage of texting, not just the frequency, like how much you use it, but like how you use texting differs from region to region. And I'm sure that, in 2021, things are kind of normalizing around the world. But for the longest time, when you're looking at places like Africa, as an example, it's a large country. There's a lot of people spread out and not a lot of clusters of like urban centers, like in other areas. So there's a large portion of their population that literally only use their phones for everything. So they use their phones to check their email. They use their phones to check their bank balance. And in a lot of places, they don't have Wi-Fi or data. So they actually just end up texting. So using just text messaging. So for example, if I wanted to send you money, I would just send a text to my bank and they would automatically send it. Right. Yeah. So if you could imagine, if you're choosing a channel to go out to people in Africa, what are you going to do? Are you going to do text, email, or phone? Right.
Yeah, it really depends, right? It just depends on how you want to approach it. There's a lot of legalities behind what you can and can't do. And I'm really excited about this topic because it happens on LinkedIn very often. We've talked about it in RevLead. We've even had our own opinions with it. And it's interesting because we are in a different world now in the US. A lot of things that were not okay a year ago are okay now. There was a recent study that people are okay with cell phones. Calling on cell phone numbers. A lot of people did a poll and it was like, we're okay with that. It's a little bit normal now. Do I have to answer still? No, but I'm expecting it now because that's the world we're in. So, is texting getting lighter? Is it becoming a thing that within the sales process is not so weird? It's more conversational. It's more, direct speed to lead because you're able to get right there in front of them. Or is it really offensive? That channel shouldn't be like, don't text me, right? Don't blow up my phone, cold somebody, but I'm curious. So let's dive into this. Let's talk a little bit about it.
So
go ahead.
So like you said a couple things that are really important. And when you're talking about regions, it's really important to think about where you're actually prospecting into.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you're from, but where you're prospecting into. So just as an example, one of the key reasons why mobile messaging and texting is becoming more normalized is because of Asia. So a lot of, Japan, China, you look in China and for years and years, you've been able to just, order something from a store through WeChat, right? Yeah. Like you go to a store and this is a text messaging, kind of like if you don't know WeChat, you might know WhatsApp or Line or Viber. But they actually can go and buy something at the store with their WeChat, right?
Okay.
So their cultures have been very advanced when it comes to mobile in that they just use mobile for everything. For them, it's just an extension of who they are. And so in the States now, as an alternative, US and Canada, the telecommunications regulatory bodies, they're just ridiculous. They have so many regulations that you don't see in other forms of communication like email and internet. And so there's actually a lot of regulations saying when you can't actually text somebody or call somebody. There's do not call lists, just like email unsubscribe lists. There's all these different things. So depending on your region, even in the States or Canada, you might be in a region that you can text cold or you can't text cold prospects, right? So if you're prospecting and you're thinking of using text, I would advise you to look into the rules and regulations of where you're from, consider the culture of where you're from or where they are, and how they think, because it's really important to understand that before you use it. But to kind of wrap this topic up, the one thing I do want you to know is that when you're looking at prospecting, when you're looking at using text, regardless of where you're from, to Tom's point, you're 100% correct, man. It is true that texting is becoming normalized. It's becoming a really important part of people's cultures, and they're starting to kind of mold between the B2B buying process and the B2C buying process. And so what's happening is you're seeing texting become normal as part of everyday commerce.
Yeah. I got two things to that to lead into the point two here. One, you brought up a point about asking the right and kind of validating by region. I almost see it to where sales orgs in contact forms and in their CRMs will start to get text opt-ins. Just like you would email. Yes. Now, when people do a demo request, they might be tricked into checking that box, or it'll be prominent for them to check and check out, right? And start building that into the sales toolkit. The other piece that I want to bring up is something interesting about the power of text is its ability to communicate. And I read an interesting report that was in 2017, so take this with a grain of salt. But the report estimated that 7 billion text messages would be sent that year. 90% of that 7 billion would be read in within 3 minutes. And by 2020, where we are today, 48.7 million people would have opted in to receive text messages from businesses.
Yes.
How crazy is that, right? That number is that it is you should be exploring CMS as an integration into your sales process, because it is okay. So where in a sales process, Jeff? So let's talk and dive into that. Okay, so text or not to text?
Okay, just before we do that, I want to point out one more stat that was really important around that same time.
Okay.
Is when first look at your phone. Look at all of all the notifications of every app that you have.
Yeah.
What is the one that has the least amount of numbers?
What do you mean?
Well, you know how it has a little number on the app that says how many notifications, right?
Yeah.
Most people, the text is the one app in their phone that has a 0.
That's my sister. We have this argument all the time. She's got like 500, but most people are on top.
There's an exception. There's an exception to every rule. But that particular thing right there is why over 98.6% of text messages are read and responded to.
Damn. Okay, you guys hear that? Listen to that.
Yeah. 98.6%. That number is probably higher now. I'm not going to lie, but this is from a couple of years ago. But that's really important. So then if you need proof of this, look at your phone and look at the least amount of notes in there. That's going to be the one that you want to use to get in touch with people the most. So that said, that's all I wanted to say about that. Tom, your next question was,
where in the sales process? So we've talked about texting or not to texting. I would vocalize that I say yes. I believe you're on the same page. So really, when in the sales process? Okay, you're saying for me to text message. Okay, fair. But when? Mm-hmm. When do I do that? Is it in cold outreach? Is it later in the sales cycle? How can I implement texting and do it elegantly to get that response and not be pushy, weird, or overextending my welcome in somebody to where they're offended?
Yeah, no, great question. So let's break down the mini parts of the sales process now.
All right. Okay.
So when you're talking cold, there's your initial outreach. Mm-hmm. I've never interacted with this person. They've never responded to me. So can you use texting cold, okay, to get their attention, to get a response? Then once you get a response, what is your communication like between response and booking that meeting? Okay. Next, you have booking the meeting to holding the meeting. Okay. Then you have holding the meeting to the next meeting. Okay. The next part. And just because we're all about fill the funnel here, we're just going to focus on the top of the funnel right now. Mm-hmm. So before you get to an actual qualified sales opportunity. So what did I name? 4 different stages there, Tom?
Yep.
Okay. So when you're looking at cold, I'm not going to assign any value to this or judge or anything like that. Just going to explain my perspective on this, and then Tom, I'm going to ask you to do the same. So for that initial stage 1, okay, I haven't reached out to this person before at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out a text message as part of my sequence. So I've got emails, I got phone, I've got social touches, I've got Clubhouse, whatever. Remember, we talked about multi-channel hustling last week, right?
Yes.
Whatever you do, let's add text in there, and let's use text to try to get in touch with somebody. The way that you do that is through short, sweet, very tight messaging that's alluding to other channels. Okay. If you're going to text cold, don't text out of the blue like you know the person. You don't. Just say, hey, Tom, I shot you an email in your inbox. Here's the subject line, something like that. Whatever else, right? Something really short, really sweet. The next phase is if you've had a response and you're trying to book that meeting. So typically, if you haven't booked a meeting already from that initial response, it's because of
go for it.
Catch you up guard there, Tom. The reason why people don't book a meeting is because it might not be relevant to them now.
Right.
It might not be relevant to them ever. It might be something that they're just busy and they want you to call back, et cetera, et cetera.
It's just relevancy. It's just bad timing all the time.
It's just bad timing. Usually it's bad timing, or you haven't given enough value perception. Either or, It's somebody's not ready to commit to a meeting now. So now that you've actually had a chance to talk to a person, what you want to do is bring them back into the funnel again. Okay. Text messaging is a great way to bring somebody back into the funnel. So that's if they said no, not now, if they said basically rejected you for one reason or another, it's, hey, you know what, Tom, I thought about this thing, check it out. Right? Give them something tangible. Hey, I thought about this thing related to our chat. Boom, here you go. Something easy. But again, it's just that easy conversation starter to get them engaged, right? If it's call me back later, okay, this is fantastic. Everybody knows if Tom tells me to call him back, I'm going to text him. Now, cool. You good to chat? Just standard little things, like just those little use text like you know this person. And I can tell you, anytime when you're in a sales process and you're using text, it's going to significantly increase your likelihood of getting them to that meeting. Okay. I don't have stats on it. Sorry. Try to get it. When I get it, I'll share it with you on Fill the Funnel.
I actually got it for you. So as of now, text message has a 98% open rate, a 45% response rate, and a 3% spam rate. Versus email, which has a 20% open rate, 6% response rate, and a 53% spam rate. Wild. So what you've hit the nail on here is it's faster. They're opening, and you're not getting hit with spam, right? You're able to get directly to them. And I think, when you're using text, it has to just be very specific. And I think that's what offends people is, remember back in the 90s, if somebody sent you just K on a text message, how it enraged you because you were paying 50 cents for that text? Don't just send me K. I'm going to pull my hair out because you just cost me 50 cents.
That's 50 cents a message or a letter, man.
This is a letter, 50 cents for that letter. So it's the same thing that applies now. That is, if you're going to use text message, have a real reason to. I think that's what it comes down to. And in the part of the sales process, for me, it's for meeting reminders because email gets so convoluted. LinkedIn might not be available to them. They might not be on it that day. So the fastest way for you to improve your show rate without offending anybody is send a text the night before. Not the night, but the midday before. Hey, Jeff, Tom, over at Milestone, just want to shoot a quick reminder. You'll have the details and the invite on your calendar. Look forward to meeting tomorrow at so-and-so time and giving that specific time, and just dropping that note because you're also not looking for a reply. You just want them to see, and 9 out of 10 times you're either going to get, hey, I'll see you then, or, hey, you know what? Something came up. I'll reach back out to you and we'll have to reschedule.
Totally.
So
this works between booking the meeting and the show. And it also works after the meeting to get, so you just said the third stage, Tom, that's kind of trying to get to that show. And then the last stage is basically now that you've had the meeting, again, it's a matter of like reminding somebody, hey, or asking somebody, how was that call? Yeah. If Tom books a meeting with somebody with me that he's built rapport with and he has a relationship with, I have the meeting. Tom can text them, hey, how was that meeting with Jeff? What did you think about it?
Absolutely. There's an open discussion there. There's a conversation, and AEs use it. After the meeting, send them a text message. Hey, it was so great meeting with you today, Jeff. Can't wait to talk to you on Thursday next week and see where we can go. You'll see my email in a few hours in your inbox. Be respectful. Tell them, right? Get in front of them. They're going to appreciate it. And what's really cool about texting after the meeting, even from an SDR perspective, if you can afford it and you could do it, e-links in text, like for coffee. Hey, I really appreciated you meeting with Jeff today. I just wanted to shoot you a quick $5 gift card, and boom, you shoot that in text message and it goes an extra way, right? That's that handoff that's leading to better quality coming into pipe, and they won't be so hesitant to ghost you anymore. It'll reduce your ghosting rate, like we talked a few episodes back, right? Is giving that acknowledgement, especially when it's a high-end account. Why not put $5 out of your pocket to say, hey, thanks for actually showing up? Because that was a big deal. You just landed a Total Wine, a Walmart, a big enterprise account. Shoot them $5 and an e-text and say, hey, I really appreciated meeting with you. And thanks for taking the time to meet with my account executive. So there's a lot of reasons to keep that warm and really, it's just like in restaurant biz. You don't tip automatically anymore, right? 20% isn't a given. You have to earn it. Right? And how do you do that? I was a server once. Somebody came into the restaurant, wanted Pepsi. We only had Coke products, but we were next to a Circle K. So guess what I did? I ran over to Circle K, got him a Pepsi, poured it over his glass and said, here you go. Right? Got a nice fat tip for that, right? Because I had the time in my schedule. I had the availability to run over there and I wanted to make it happen. Same here with texting. It's meant to just be next level, creative, special, and really just be personal with somebody, but in a way that's respectful and has actual value. Don't be texting cold. I don't agree with it. I'm sorry. My vote is not on the cold. I agree. Very specific.
I'm with you 100%.
Unless it's something very specific, right? Like straight up, you have a real cold reason. Now, a cold inbound, different story in my opinion. I think if it's an inbound, you should be able to text. So I will say that, and we could discuss that on another episode when it comes to inbounding. There's different rules there. But my take at the end of all of this is do it. It's in the middle of you booking the meeting and getting them to show. And then it's taking that step further and doing temperature checks throughout the relationship when they're going along with your AE from an SDR perspective or as an AE perspective. Really dive into that, build a relationship with them, send them a gift, send them a funny emoji. Hey, thanks so much for meeting. Something to build that relationship next level to where if objections, dragons, situations come up, they feel comfortable to reach out to you and they're happy to say, hey, something came up, and they're willing to not just ghost you. So that's my take. So I don't know what your final thoughts are, how you want to, finish it out and what you got to add.
All I got to say is I absolutely love texting fanboy. It's fantastic for so many things, but I'm agreeing with you. Don't use it cold. Use it where it can drive the conversation, not take away. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fill the Funnel podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite platform, give us reviews, and tell all your friends about us. Till next time, happy hunting.